The song singing about McCavity is insane for one important reason. It says he's committed every human crime. So on the count of three, we are all going to name our favorite crime he has ever committed. Because mine personally is regicide. And he's also committed tax fraud. But on the scarier side, he's committed acts of terror.
I mean, he did actually commit an act of bioterrorism in this movie. So.
Right at that moment, yeah.
I just love that canonically he has committed racketeering, so...
Tax evasion, literally every human crime.
Mail fraud, yeah, fucking...
He did try to vote twice, but it was for Thatcher, so...
Welcome to My Brother, My Brother's Friend, and Me, a podcast where two ex-evangelical siblings and an ex-Catholic non-sibling watch Christian media and either praise or condemn it. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Michael.
And this week, because of a promise Josh made back in April, we were subjected to the infamous 2019 film adaptation of the musical Cats. Before I am killed by overexposure to Andrew Lloyd Webber's bad show, please be sure to like and comment on this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Twitter at MBMBFandme. Josh, I guess, do you want to explain why we're doing this? 'Cause I don't fucking know.
All right.
And, you have to give an explanation of how this is Christian media, because there is one, but I'm not doing your homework for you on this one.
All right. So, when thinking about Christian media, what comes to mind immediately? And that is pretentious, self-serving, and made up. And that are the...
You didn't include homoerotic, so I'm not sure...
This movie is many things. I don't think it is homoerotic.
It is actually explicitly anti-homoerotic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's straight erotic. The worst type of erotic.
It's bad.
But honestly, this movie does have a lot of Jesus metaphors sprinkled through, where the, I'm gonna add about 18 quotation marks, plot of this movie is trying to sacrifice yourself so you can go off to a better place. Which is the story of Jesus. The look Michael just gave me. The real reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted to be... I saw this movie in theaters. This is the first thing I did in 2020.
God.
Which...
It was the best thing you did in 2020, too.
Honestly, it was the best thing that happened to me in 2020.
So, if you all need a, person to blame for the year you've had, it's my brother for watching Cats. That is, truthfully, when it all went
I want to describe... I went to see this at, 12 o'clock, because I'm not paying full price to watch this movie. And I went
Wait,
with...
PM?
No, noon, whichever one that is.
So PM, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
You went to a matinee showing of Cats, which is very funny.
It was me and my friend Devin, and 6 other people, and we were the youngest people by about 50 years.
Yeah.
And we laughed so hard during the movie at one point I thought they were going to kick us out. But this movie's so bad, and we need to discuss it, because... I don't know where else to discuss it in my life.
Yeah.
And we got 20 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, thanks to all 20 of you for that. Just really made sure we caught the zeitgeist of the Cats 2019.
Look, once we get to 50, we're gonna turn my takeover into a month-long takeover where I get 4 picks in a row, and they're all gonna be either horror movies or documentaries or high-minded films that Aaron hates. So get us to 50, boys and girls, and
I actually really like the idea of 50 being just my brother, my brother, my brother, in which you get 3 picks right in a row.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I'm glad that
Trinity.
Michael gets a good solid pack, because when we hit 100, we're just gonna read Left Behind, and it's gonna.
Oh my god, that's so good. I hope we never do.
Yeah, we're not gonna get that famous, so don't worry.
Famous last
I
word.
think it's only fair that I take the helm on this one, that I drive us through this freak show as you two are tied up in the back seat screaming for help.
Appropriate metaphor, yeah.
So I'm just gonna...
Yep, that feels
I'm
apt.
gonna jump in, and the big pauses I'm gonna take are when new cats are introduced, because that's what the movie does for some godforsaken reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we have established, I hate musicals.
Yet, for the record, both musicals that we have reviewed...
Yeah,
you
weird how
have
that
chosen.
works.
Yep. I also hate Andrew Lloyd Webber.
And you've chosen only Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals, so we're doing great so far.
But I love furries. So this one really was a weird one for me.
A lot of conflicted feelings.
So the movie starts with a woman driving her car with a bag that's moving in the passenger seat. And then she tosses the bag onto the street, where we watch Victoria, a young white cat from the Wikipedia, crawl out of the bag. Now, the part about this that distresses me the most is that there are humans established in this world. And the cats look like humans in this world. And every other type of creature looks like humans in this world.
You don't know what humans look like in this world.
We know what their hands look like.
Yeah, but you don't know what their faces look like. I envision, because we see a lot of animals with human faces in this film, therefore, it can be surmised that the humans all have animal faces.
Occam's razor.
That is an excellent point. Yeah, but the thing is, they all have a different animal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like fucking Egyptian gods up in here.
Yeah.
So then the alley cats jump out and start singing about how they're jellicles. And we're introduced to, quoting from the Wikipedia page, two Toms, meek magician Mr. Mistopheles, who is a crush on Victoria, and loyal Munkustrap. Munkstrap? Munkustrap.
Munkustrap is correct, yeah.
Two queens, the snooty Cassandra and Demeter, and then they take her on a weird trip, and the setting kind of shifts, where you're just looking at like a normal human alleyway, and suddenly it's a cat-themed alleyway with cat puns, which I actually was like, okay, that's fun, but then they started dancing and being weird the entire time, and I hated it.
I mean, I guess this is as good a time as any for, like, Michael's fun facts, but the lead role of Victoria is one of Broadway's, like, most difficult dancing roles. So they always have to cast, like, a really good dancer, and they often have to teach them, like, give them vocal lessons, because they're like, goddamn, we cannot find anyone who can dance this, and that seems more important. And, like, even in the film, I would say that's true. If you look at the choreography, it is real. It is one of the more difficult bits of choreography, and sure enough, they cast a dancer for it.
And, like, here's the thing. Each of the actors is in a different movie, and they did not tell them which type of movie they would be in, because, like, Victoria, I would say Mr. Mistopheles, they're in this, like, playful musical. That's the movie there, a nice playful musical. But then when we have Bustopher Jones show up, who is James Corden's character, he's in a slapstick comedy, just here to make goofs and eat garbage. And then we have my favorite cat, Jason Derulo cat, whose name I do not care about.
It doesn't matter, it's Jason Derulo.
Rum Tum Tugger! Come on!
Whose entire point is to bust into random scenes and start dancing.
He fucking owns. Jason Derulo is absolutely the best part of this movie.
Oh, hard disagree.
But
hard disagree.
Close, like, top 3 good things in this, and there are only about 4. So,
but this is when we're introduced to the Heaviside Lair, which is what all of the Jellicles are attempting to get to. God, I sound like a crackhead. So the Heaviside Lair is like a heaven, and they all have to perform a show to Old Deuteronomy. And then Old Deuteronomy picks the winner and sends them off on a trip to their death to the new life. I think I got the main plot that everyone is trying to get to, with just like the overarching, now we can introduce the cats that come along.
I mean, to be fair, I actually think you just now did more world building than this musical, and then, you know, by relation, this film even attempted to do. So, congrats on that.
Now we need to introduce Jenny Annie Dots.
We don't, though.
We have to. We do. Legally, we have to. So
how we were saying that Jason Derulo is one of the best parts of this film, I think, personally, Rebel Wilson and James Corden are two of the worst things about this film.
Without a question.
So I watched a couple of video essays in preparation for this stupid thing, and Lindsay Ellis, who's a pretty prominent YouTuber, did a breakdown of Cats, and she brought up a good point, which is like, there's some like pretty famous people in this movie, and it seems like they could only have them on set for about 4 days, which is why they only appear in scenes with each other. We'll get that with Idris Elba, Taylor Swift, James Corden, and Rebel Wilson. And it just seems like they just let James Corden and Rebel Wilson do whatever dumb improv they wanted, and they just couldn't do anything else because they didn't have enough time to like reshoot their bad scenes. But like, there's an especially heinous moment, like when they were doing, I guess it was the Oscars, I don't know, but like Rebel Wilson and James Corden went out on stage in like their Cats outfits, and they're like, yeah, we above everyone know the importance of good like CGI effects, and like just threw up the entire Cats CGI team under the bus. So, you know, aside from the fact that they did a very bad job in the show, they can get completely fucked.
They are, I think you listed the things I hated about this movie the most, and not to infuriate my sibling, Taylor Swift does a terrible job in this movie, because they...
that is hilarious, because that is wrong, and every reviewer agrees with me,
because
so
they cast her
that's
at
great.
The worst role for Taylor Swift. I do not blame Taylor Swift. I blame the people that casted her as that terrible role.
We'll talk about that too in a bit.
We'll get there.
So,
it's all right to be wrong, though. We've established you're wrong, and we can operate from
Jenny
there.
Annie Dots, the thing that is most disturbing about her time, I don't want to have to pick. One of the most disturbing things about her time being there is that she rips her skin off. That's her superpower. Each of these cats has a superpower. Hers is that she can remove a layer of her skin to show a different layer of her skin. So, she removes her fat cat skin to reveal her cat skin wearing clothing, and then does her musical number. That is not the first or last time we will see her remove her skin as a plot point. Another disturbing aspect of this monstrosity of a scene is that there are mice. There are children mice that she eats. And there are also cockroaches that are children.
That are humans.
Yeah,
they're humans.
And they tap dance.
And she eats them.
And yeah, she does eat them. And we watch this with our lives that are coming seemingly quicker and quicker to an end as the news cycle continues.
So, not only that, like, I actually think the darkest part of it is that the mood... So, the one strong thing about Cats is supposed to be the fact that, like, it covers basically every mood, right? Like, it is really a feature, not a bug, that every character is kind of in their own story, because the whole point of this is every character is singing to you, telling you their story. So the mood shifts dramatically from song to song, character to character. But, like, this is a happy-go-lucky, beautiful, fun, dancey song about eating people. It's cannibalism on Broadway.
I'll do you one better, and that this is actually a better adaptation than the original poem by T.S. Eliot. So another video essayist, Maggie Mayfish, did a video about Cats, and she dissected the poetry of T.S. Eliot, who, as it turns out, was basically just like a huge incel wanker.
Huh.
And it was like a big royalist eugenicist piece of shit. And if you follow the poetry in Cats, it's a lot about like keeping people in their place and like, you know, making sure that everybody is in their, you know, strict society. Like nobody questions the fact that Deuteronomy is like the king who can, you know, reincarnate people at their will. Like it's just accepted and everybody's happy with it. And like the thing with Jenny Anydots is like there's a kind of a pernicious like you can extrapolate the metaphor of her teaching the mice and cockroaches how to dance and be in like little marching bands to like, you know, the white man's burden of educating the savages and brown people and being like, this is how you must behave in a civilized society. So that's not really, we don't really need to get into the fact that T.S. Eliot was a huge fucking piece of shit in this because this is a fun thing. But, you know, it is something that I learned today. I'll put the link to Maggie Mayfish's video essay in the description. But yeah, the Cats is actually a lot darker when you go to the source material, which is why you should never read any English poetry.
And after that, we are introduced. Is that when? I believe that's when McCavity shows up. Who is Idris Elba?
Look, my notes are not going to hold us together on this one. I cannot orient you. My notes are things like, it's very uncanny valley. This cockroach scene is cannibalism. Why are the cats so horny?
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about the horny cats. Can we talk for a second about, did you guys get the hands or non-hands version?
Oh, I had full-on human hands.
Same here.
I assume I did too, yeah.
Yeah. To the point where, Dame Judi Dench had rings on.
So what I think we just have to take one brief moment. We're going to spend one moment on the CGI. I think we get literally 60 seconds to talk about it because it's been talked about to death. Why the fuck didn't they just put them in Lyrica and furs? Like, why didn't we just do what every stage adaptation had done? It would be cheaper. It would be camp. Because this film is just too self-serious to be camp, and it could be so funny and like a classic in like a funny way, but it's so self-serious and they blew the budget on the fucking CGI and it's a waste of money.
I mean, the answer to that is that Tom Hooper's a psychopath.
Fair.
Personally, I would have preferred if they animated it fully.
Oh, absolutely. It would have been great as an animated.
It would have been adorable.
Thing.
And, like, because the only musicals I like are animated. I don't know why I'm like this. But yeah, if it was animated, I actually think I would have hated it, but I would have hated it in a different way. A nicer way.
The thing is that Tom Hooper had previously, I think, won an Oscar for Les Mis or whatever. He got some award when he did the adaptation of Les Mis. So they were like, well, Cats is a musical, and this guy got an Oscar for a musical or whatever. So I guess he should direct this thing, and he loves things being realistic and shit. So I guess he'll be a good pick. And then he went and completely shit the bed. So
here
hard. We are.
This movie lost so much fucking money.
Oh yeah,
like something like upwards of $75 million.
Well, yeah, because it had a budget between 80 and 100 million, and it made 75 million. And you want to make about double what your budget was to include marketing. But very bad. So, McCavity, who is Idris Elba, was here to chew scenery and ingest catnip, and he's all out of catnip for right now. And he chews the fuck out of every single scene. And I am a fan of Idris Elba. I think he's a very good actor. I also think he's very pretty. Not in this movie. No one's pretty in this movie. And I enjoyed any time he showed up, but I didn't enjoy that it happened at a point in which I had motion sickness from the speed of which we moved. Now, McCavity's superpower, because each of the cats has a superpower, is teleportation. And he teleports, and I shit you not, with a... It's so bad that they would make that decision.
So, I've got to say, Idris Elba was not having a good time in this film, but he was still giving his most. Yep. And, like, that is more than we can say for most of the actors in this, and I have very, very specific, not even criticisms, because I cannot blame anyone for, like, the behavior on set when making this film, but there were very few people having a good time.
Yeah.
And they're very notable when they're on screen. Idris Elba was not one of them. However, he is such a professional. He was like, God damn, I'm going to say some of these like really annoying, very like weird lines. Like, he just had so many strange lines that he delivered with such seriousness that I'm like, okay, I guess we're serious.
And his goal is to kidnap all of the other people that are attempting to be in the Jellicle Ball. So he, by default, wins. Also known as the Putin. So he is slowly kidnapping the cats. Like, he kidnaps Jenny Anydots and Bustopher Jones.
He was doing us a favor with
honestly, when he took them out, I'm like, so he's the hero.
It's hard to root against McCavity in this one.
They take all of those cats to a boat where I don't know the cat's name that is like watching them other than Cockney cat.
Growl Tiger.
It's a cat with a Cockney accent. That's all you need to know. Then we have our song, which is sung by the twins Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer. And the reason I didn't struggle with that is because the song is them saying their name over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah, it really is.
And over again. But that is the scene that messed my brain up the most, which is weird because they're running around in a house. And the scale is so weird. The entire time, the scaling of every item they pick up will just hurt your brain if you think about it for any second. But they spend so much time in this freaking house that you can't help but think, like, that's not how big a fork is. Why is that chicken leg so small? And, like, every single time it gets weirder and weirder. And they try to kill her with a dog. I don't think they try to, but they're just mischievous. And, you know, sometimes you accidentally kill a newcomer. But Mr. Mistopheles, whose name I also know because there's a song where they only say his name, comes and rescues Victoria. Mr. Mistopheles, I have a soft spot in my heart because I don't hate his song. I want to point out that my issue with a lot of musicals is they just go, what if we didn't rhyme? Hear me out. What if the songs didn't include rhythm? And this Cats is a lot of these songs did not rhyme.
Okay, yeah, but that's because T.S. Eliot is a shitty poet. Like, I think most musicals do rhyme.
Yeah. If you, as an audience, could have seen the look that Aaron and I both gave at the same time, and it was the exact same. I thought for a moment I was looking in a mirror because we were making the same expression about my brother's wrongness here. Musicals are good, this one is not.
I do not like musicals. I understand that other people are... I am wrong. I will admit I am incorrect on the opinion that all musicals are bad. It just depends on what scale they are bad. But boy, does this song... None of the songs rhyme, to the point that I think the only song I like has a couple rhymes in it.
Actually, that's not true. There are songs that rhyme. They just are the only songs that are famous outside of the musical.
Well, yeah, because the Memories.
Yeah.
The song that everybody knows I have takes about. So after this, we are introduced to Old Deuteronomy, who is Dame Judi Dench wearing a very large coat.
So that also implies not only does that imply cannibalism, which we've seen already in the humanoids, but also wearing the skin of, your deceased species, because this cats have coats. I have 2 of them, and I fully understand. And she's not a sphinx. She's not naked under there. She's got plenty of fur. Judi Dench was like, I want a fucking coat. And they were like, all right, guess we're giving her a coat.
Yeah, it's some Buffalo Bill shit. It's ghoulish.
Listen, the society built around sacrificing one of their own. It makes sense.
That's what's happening to the Jellicle cats. They're being sent off to a coat factory.
That's why it's not a performance. She's checking out their coat like, I could use a new pair of gloves.
Yeah. She's like, look, my hands are naked, my rings are exposed, I need new gloves. But in all seriousness, Judi Dench is the person who least wants to be here.
Oh my god,
They
she hates
did
it
so
here.
many famous people so fucking dirty in this movie, especially Judi Dench and Ian McKellen. I just felt they're old, famous actors. Just give them some respect. Come
Ian
on.
McKellen only has so many years on being a corporeal being, and we are taking them away from him to stick him in Cats? He was Magneto. He was Gandalf.
He was almost Dumbledore.
And we made him drink out of a toilet or some shit in this movie. It was so fucking infuriating.
Yeah, and like Judi Dench, she is someone who like fucking brings it to every role. And I'm gonna be honest, if I showed up to work and Judi Dench was there and she was like, I'm phoning this one in, I'd fucking phone it in too. So I'm not surprised no one brought it, because she was like, fuck this is gonna be a mess.
I will say, Judi Dench phoning it in, better than whatever the fuck James Corden and Rebel Wilson were doing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I want to be, like, I want to be very clear about my disdain for these two. It is not the fact that they're doing, like a weird, like, slapstick comedy, or, like, a lot of their humor was weight-related, which bums me out as a
fucking sucked.
fat person. Like, geez, guys, can we not, like... That's a tangent, but it's just the fact that they clearly gave nothing to this performance, and I get it, but it made their scenes unbearably annoying.
Yeah.
But at this point, we have Grisabella show up, who is Jennifer Hudson, who is a cat that is in one of those commercials that's always on Animal Planet that makes me cry. And they're so mean to her. The second she shows up, they bully her.
But she steals a scene. She walks in, like, Jennifer Hudson is like this all the time. I always think of the Sex and the City film where I'm like, what the fuck? You're not even one of the original four, and I care more about your, like, D plot than I care about Sarah Jessica Parker and Big getting back together. But in this film, too, I'm like, no, can we get more Jennifer Hudson?
I want to point out that Wikipedia says that they hate her because she was friends with McCavity.
Yeah,
I did
that's not. That's a thing that's like made explicit in the film. That's not in the musical, the stage play. And like, there are some parts of this movie where like I'm glad that they're like, oh hey, like this is the reason why it is what it is. But this is like a really bad case of just like, hey. You know that thing that we left ambiguous in the play? We're going to make it explicit, and it's going to add nothing to this show.
Well, especially when other cats in the group are working with McCavity in this movie.
Exactly.
It's a very, I don't know. And maybe tell us about that.
Useless.
But they're very mean to her and bully her away. But we do get to see old Gus, Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen is someone I have so much respect for, and he, god damn it, gave it his all, in which he said, I'm gonna have an okay time. I'm gonna give this a goofy, little, fun thing, and he did, and I'm proud of him, but god, he just goes up and talks on a old stage, and they do nothing fun around him while he sings, and he just is old and exists, and that's his character.
And it's also like, I don't know, like, Ian McKellen is a performer.
Mm-hmm.
You could have given him something to do. Like, I get, again, this is based off of a musical, right? Like, you do have a framework, but they were very clearly comfortable changing things. So why didn't they give him anything? And if they weren't going to give him anything, why did they cast him? Do you know how much money probably went in to get Ian McKellen on screen for like 10 minutes?
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, and, like, much like Judi Dench, like, whatever you get from him is bare minimum B-. You are not going to get a C performance from either of these two actors, and that's what they give every single time they're on stage. I will say, I think the reason I liked him more than Judi Dench is because he had to be on stage less. So he didn't have, and plus Judi Dench had to stare at my soul at the end of the movie, which we'll address later. So now we have, I think I have in my notes here, scheduled 45 minutes yelling with my brother.
Oh god, I'm gonna go get a drink. Jesus.
Yeah.
So this is when Bombalurina, I think I'm pronouncing that right, who is Taylor Swift, shows up and pours horny catnip on the group. I don't own cats. Does catnip make cats horny?
Catnip just makes cats crazy or lazy. So I guess horny fits in one of those.
It doesn't mind control them, in my experience, though.
No, it definitely doesn't. But here's the thing. Catnip's supposed to be like a stand-in for like a wonder drug here.
Yeah.
Like
Viagra. So we're going to talk about the things that we can all agree on. The song singing about McCavity, there's no L, McCavity, is insane for one important reason. It says he's committed every human crime. So on the count of three, we are all going to name our favorite crime he has ever committed. Because mine personally is regicide. He has killed a king, and he's also committed tax fraud. But on the scarier side, he's committed acts of terror. So he's definitely a bad guy.
I mean, he did actually commit an act of bioterrorism in this movie. So.
Right at that moment, yeah. Here's my...
I just love that canonically he has committed racketeering, so...
Tax evasion, literally every human crime.
Mail fraud, fucking...
He did try to vote twice, but it was for Thatcher, so...
I don't fucking get why the fuck they cast Taylor Swift in this role. It's as if...
I'm gonna let you, go on your rant, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and give you my rebuttal.
It's like they watched Bad Blood and went, perfect! And, I don't hate Taylor Swift. I like more of her music than I dislike. And this is the worst cat to make Taylor Swift. The horny femme fatale is not a good role for her, and she doesn't do good in it because it's not good for her.
I can see the veins bulging in Michael's forehead.
He's so mad at me.
Well, it's just you're wrong. And it's because, truthfully, honest to God, in my notes, what I put down is the only songs worth re-listening to are Taylor Swift's version of Beautiful Ghosts and Memories. Those are the only songs worth re-listening to. The reason they cast Taylor Swift in this role in particular is this was during the Reputation era. This was when Taylor Swift was getting on stage in the shortest shorts and fishnets and sequins with black lipstick and actually actively kind of reclaiming a little bit of the narrative, being more comfortable being sexier. So if you really look at her career, this was the perfect cat to cast her in. And, I just have to say, there were 2 reviews I read that I very, very, very much agreed with. And it was about the casting of Taylor Swift. Everyone complimented Taylor Swift, including critic Guy Lodge said that she was the best thing in the film, which I actually disagree with, but she is the only performer that completely hits their mark, bringing her unabating charisma, the lone successful numbers. It's one of the few genuinely good parts of the film, makes the most of her brief on-screen time. The one thing that's disappointing about her performance is there's not more of it. And she's the only one who seems to be having fun, perhaps because she only appears for approximately 10 minutes. The thing is that Taylor Swift is having a good time, which is more than you can say for most of them. When you're she can't act, there is no acting in this part. You're singing one song, you're coming down, flicking down catnip. What acting do you want? She's doing about as much as they gave her.
Yeah, that's exactly my issue, is they gave her the wrong stuff. And I'm not saying, you can't go reclaim your sexuality. There's nothing sexy in this scene. There's no sex in this scene. This is Sexless in the City. And,
how she's singing about McCavity is pretty... She sounds like she knows him pretty well.
My brain will refuse to connect the dots you are trying to make me connect, Michael. I genuinely hope that she did enjoy her time there. I hope that all but a couple of these actors enjoyed their time performing this. Because if not, oof, that's rough. I just did not see enjoyment when watching this scene from her. I don't know. I get it. She's a really good singer. She's one of the, I do agree that she gives one of the best performances because she can sing, and this song isn't hot garbage, like most of the songs in this goddamn musical. But, I don't know. Taylor Swift is the horny cat that pours catnip seems like an insult to Taylor Swift.
I do think we all have to agree, though. Her version of Beautiful Ghost is much better, and it's because she's an actual singer.
Okay, let's talk about Beautiful Ghost, because this is the only thing I have to contribute to the Taylor Swift conversation. According to interviews, Taylor Swift and Andrew Lloyd Webber co-wrote Beautiful Ghosts, and the reason that the person who plays Victoria is not doing a great job in this movie is because they finished the song about an hour before they recorded the scene, so she didn't have a whole lot of time to practice, unfortunately.
That tracks
So hard.
And if anyone who's ever seen how Taylor Swift works, that's not on her. This woman sits at a piano, hits a note, goes, oh, I have a sentence, here's a story, I've got a song, and then before you know it, you see, the bones. I can just see Andrew Lloyd Webber. We've got time. I'm sure it's
Andrew's fault. He's a fucking old man who's just like, yeah, I already did this musical, so I'm just gonna fucking play it by ear.
Listen, if there's 3 people I blame for this musical, that is Andrew Lloyd Webber, Tom Hooper, and anyone with over $1 billion. They're who I'm really mad at.
Jeff Bezos secretly financed this movie in order to bring about the fall of democracy.
I'm just saying, without billionaires, we don't have cats. I'm leaving it at that. Think about it, let it ruminate, and let's move on. Me and Michael can agree to disagree. At least we do agree on the big points. Taylor Swift can sing, and horny cats be weird.
I do love, have we not mentioned the fact that they had to edit out Jason Derulo's bulge?
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. Which is so good. We haven't talked about him enough. Aaron, can you just edit in randomly at some point in the podcast a Jason Derulo?
Yeah, I'll just talk about the toe sucking scene for 10 seconds at a time and just pepper it in throughout the recording.
God. There are also cats that wear tennis shoes. That's their superpower. They have tennis shoes.
I love the idea that, canonically the cat's world is nudist.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got some weirdos who like to wear clothes.
These freaks. Thank God that McCavity wears clothes, because when he reveals his body, we will get to that. But now we need to talk about Shimbleshanks the Railroad Cat. This scene, if you took this scene and replaced the terrible editing, I'd get it. I get why people would like the musical, because it's fun. It's a fun tap dance scene.
It's fine, yeah. It's
fine, and it's fun, and I get it. However, they're monstrosities while they dance and sing. And then he's kidnapped. We're flying through this. I believe next we have McCavity arrives, and he's like, I'm the pick. You should pick me. And does his little singy dance, where he removes his jacket to reveal the smoothest goddamn body you ever did see. He's so smooth and shiny that I thought that they forgot and they just waxed Idris Elba and made him all smooth and then just put him out there.
That is a good point. Idris Elba is the only cat who, as a black man, they made his fur, quote unquote, the same color as his skin. And, maybe that was the best choice to not erase his blackness, but also, none of the other white people in this movie get that same treatment, which is just kind of fun to think about.
Jennifer Hudson gets it a little bit, which is
Oh, cool. Great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how thoughtful they were about much of anything, but let alone the overt racism of that.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, I think that one probably went over their heads while they were too busy trying to figure out whether or not Butthole should be included in this movie. They chose the wrong decision. They eventually get rid of him. They kidnap. She says, no, old Deuteronomy, I will not pick you. So he kidnaps her. And then everyone turns to Mr. Mistopheles, where they sing about him being awesome. And they're like, alright, you've been only doing party tricks, but do real magic. And he's like, okay, that's not really my established superpower, but alright.
In the musical, he's actually, like, super magical and powerful or whatever, but I kind of like that scene where it's like, hey, sometimes we just need a whole room of people to psych you up so you can do reverse teleportation magic.
Eventually, he's able to bring back old Deuteronomy, and then we get to watch another Rebel Wilson disturbing moment where her and Rum Tub Tugger are tied up, and she rips off her skin I believe, third time, because she's got her first skin, and then she's got clothing, and then her other skin, and then she peels that skin off to have her normal skin again, and this helps her wiggle out of the ropes somehow. And they beat up McCavity. That's all you really need to know from that. Grisabella's singing Memories. Here, let's talk about it. This is the song most people know from Cats, Memories. It is, like, the reason... I've heard reviews of Cats of it's a terrible musical with one of the world's best songs at the end, which is a very funny description. Jennifer Hudson acts the fuck out of this movie. Oh my god. Oh my god.
She didn't have to try that hard. Literally no one else was trying that hard, but God bless her, she really fucking brung it, and, like, we have to respect that. Like, that woman deserved double what her salary was for this stupid film.
The reason that I disagreed with the take that Taylor Swift was the best part of this film is because Jennifer Hudson was the best part of this film. Just objectively, that is fact. That is truth. Every time she's in a scene, she steals it. Her singing voice is by far the best. And when she sung Memories, a song that, like, I don't think it is astronomically amazing. I think that, truthfully, had it been in a better musical, it might not have had as big of a moment.
We were all just so happy stuff was rhyming.
Yeah, and, like, because it's in such a god-awful musical, it's such a standout. But when she sang it, I got chills. It was the only moment in this film that, like, she got my entire attention, and I wasn't complaining about something in my notes.
And she gets picked because of that beautiful song, and she deserves a new beginning, even though Mr. Mistopheles saved the day. And she gets to go to the Heaviside Lair in a chandelier hot air balloon. And then we watch McCavity on a roof attempt to jump on the rope to climb up, but falls and we assume dies.
He tries to magic himself out, but his teleportation magic stops, so we have to assume he starves to death up there.
Yeah. I like to imagine that he just needs some people to come and tell him he's doing okay. Because that worked for Mistopheles.
That's true.
And now we have the last jarring moment of this movie, partially because it is the last part of this movie, where Dame Judi Dench looks at you in your human eyes, grabs your soul by the throat, and monologues about jellicle cats are jellicle because they're jellicle, and they're not dogs. And then finally she releases the vice-like grip she has on your throat, and releases you to go about the world as you will.
At least she explains what jellicle cats are. It's a bastardization of Dear Little Cat, so at least someone finally told us, because I had to look it up. I'm like, what the fuck are they saying?
Is that what it is? I genuinely...
Yeah.
Huh.
It's from the source material, the poems. So you have jellicle cats and pollicle dogs. So this was fun facts by Michael. Apparently somehow I still did more homework. So pollicle dog means poor little dog, and jellicle cat is dear little cat.
Huh.
Because I guess fucking T.S. Eliot still doesn't know how English people speak.
So I think his perspective is, like, these are, like, what kids call them. So, like,
yeah, because it's like a
kid
children's
voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think it's a good explanation,
fucking
but
sucks, dude. God.
This is a very bad
Glad
movie.
that dude's dead.
I'll let you ask your question about who our favorite cats are.
Who's your favorite cat?
Jason Derulo for me.
Just
I love
as a person.
We didn't talk about how he just screams milk constantly. Like that ruled.
Oh, there was an entire milk scene. I forgot.
Yeah, like there's that milk bar scene was like the only moment that I really had a good time in this movie.
Yeah, I think Rum Tug Tugger is one of my favorites. And if not, it's got to be In Spite of Herself, Old Deuteronomy, because I love her song where she talks about like being old and frail, and it's like, I know you're jumping around getting into chaos, like you're just like making a big show because you just got rescued.
I am sticking with Mr. Mistopheles, partially because I haven't gotten his song out of my head for the past 9 months.
I have an important question.
Yeah.
So we did this with our last musical. Who would we cast amongst us as cats?
Jesus.
Ooh. He's not part of the podcast, Aaron.
Yeah, he certainly is not.
He's not here right now.
Yeah, Jesus, we asked him, and he said, no. I think, Michael, you'd make a very good ballerina.
Show up, give out drugs, and leave.
Yeah, make everyone incredibly uncomfortably horny, and then leave the party.
Sounds about right.
I think I'm Monkastrap, because he's just kind of like, well, this is what's happening right now.
Monkastrap, the tell not show cat.
Yes, exactly.
See, I wanted you to be McCavity, Aaron, because I feel like you'd actually have a good time in that role.
Actually, McCavity would be tight. If I was feeling more high energy today, I might have said McCavity, but like, Cats was my least favorite musical long before this movie came out, so I'm just like, dreading this so much.
Aaron is like one step away from being like, Grisabella. She dies at least at the end. She receives a sweet embrace.
Honestly, we're all of Grisabella at this point in the year.
I think, and I know I'm biased, but I think I'd either have some real Rumpelteazer energy or Mistopheles, depending on if it's good or bad mischief.
I think you could do a Mistopheles for sure.
Yeah, that was my instinct was Aaron is McCavity, you as Mistopheles, and I was gonna say for me Rum Tug Tugger because I'm so chaotic, but I kind of like the idea more of me like coming down in a moon and like giving everyone catnip more.
I do think that is more on brand.
Yeah.
So Josh, the whole point of this was to like try to apply Christian allegory to the movie Cats. I mean, do you have anything for it? Because I found one website which was extremely good, but before I give that, do you have anything?
Other than the fact that the animation is actually an abomination, and is listed in Leviticus, believe it or not.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. All of my research was about the cats themselves, and that's why I was actually able to say most of their names only on a third attempt. And reviews of this movie. For Christian allegories, I got nothing. This is a weird movie. Christ was not mentioned once.
So, I did more research than I should have for this. Like, I looked up somebody's, like, thesis about, like, fallen women, and, like, how, you know, the archetype of the fallen woman can be seen in Grisabella, can be seen as Mary Magdalene. You know, I watched those Lindsay Ellis and Maggie Mayfish videos. You know, there's some good stuff that I'll leave in the doobly-doo of this video, but the thing that I thought was probably the best was a website titled catsmusicalmeaning.wordpress.com. And a man named Mike Fulmer published this in 2011. And the subtitle for this WordPress blog is "The Symbolism and Meaning of the Musical Cats explained from a Christian point of view. So this dude in 2011 went through and tried to find exactly the purpose of this thing. And he did, like, kind of a good job. Like, he pointed out that the Jellicle Ball could be an allegory for the Jewish Day of Atonement. He pointed out that Deuteronomy, could be a direct parallel with Moses. He even quoted Revelations 3, 4, and 5. Yet you have a few people in Sardis who have not soiled their clothes. They will walk with me dressed in white, for they are worthy. And that's like Victoria, she's the white cat, therefore the one that's worthy, she becomes Jellicle at the end, blah, 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 blah. But I think the thing that got me the most here was the thing that he closed out his blog with, and I quote, "Because of the great number of obvious parallels to the Bible, I believe this symbolic message of salvation in cats is no mere coincidence, but the creative plan of a great Christian writer spreading the message of salvation in the most unique manner. Perhaps through the poems of T.S. Eliot, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and the composer of Cats, found a subtle way to promote the mystery of the message of salvation on stage to an unsuspecting audience while providing spectacular entertainment in the process." This man.
After our botched review of the new Left Behind film, I read a review that said Satan 1, God 0. We're up to Satan 2. And God is still at 0.
Oh my god, this godforsaken podcast. I love the idea of these two terrible, terrible Tories just fucking going, how do we get more people like Jesus? Hear me out. Hear me out. What if we made the most convoluted play ever?
The most sexual cats you've ever seen. That'll convert them to Christianity.
What do the youths like? And someone said pussy and they did not understand what that meant.
Or they really did.
Oh my god, yeah. One of them is definitely a furry. This does a disservice to actual furries, and I mean this wholeheartedly, who aren't into the sexual stuff and just think it's neat to draw themselves as animals, and that's fine and fun and cute, and I genuinely respect that. However, this movie, for those who do find furry stuff sexual, is also a disservice. Because nothing about this was sexy in any way.
Yeah, it does the same amount of damage to the furry community as 50 Shades of Grey did to the BDSM community. It's just like a complete bastardization of their whole lifestyle.
Exactly. So, if we're gonna say anything, don't kink shame, and don't watch this bad movie. Watch God's Not Dead 2, which is a better film.
That's pretty harsh.
That's my review.
I don't disagree. But I do think now is time for our reviews.
Yep, I'm gonna give it God's Not Dead 1.5.
The sequel we've all been waiting for.
It's the one leading with Timon and Pumbaa.
I'll give this a Jesus is Laid in the Tomb, the 14th Station, because after watching this, I just wanted to lie down for 3 days.
I am giving this film one surprise hairball in your shoe. Nothing about it was expected. All of it was awful, and it is remotely related to actual cats.
I believe it's your turn now, Aaron, right?
Oh, yeah, and we're putting you in jail.
Yeah, Josh,
you're in jail.
You're in film jail now.
I didn't pick this. The people
yes,
did.
Yes, you did!
The people picked
absolutely picked this.
The people voted. I am, much like the United States Senate, I am respecting the people's whim.
Well, we just voted now, and Aaron and I have a supermajority, so...
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Aaron, you do realize that means we have to watch more horror movies now.
I mean, listen, unfortunately, Michael gets the best metrics for this podcast.
Yeah, he does.
He's kind of our marketing CEO. Gentlemen, do you have any places that people can find you on the internet?
Yeah, I want to just do a quick shout out. Me and one of my friends have another movie review podcast called They Done Goofed. And we also have a podcast where we make two cryptids fight each other. That's the newest episode out. And if you want to see who would win, whether it be Mothman or Bigfoot, check us out. That one's Cryptid Showdown.
So you can find me at Twitter at Michael's Diamonds, or if you want to follow me on Instagram and see some like cute little hair accounts and give me some love, I'm at Michael and the Diamonds.
You can follow me on Twitter at AaronSXL, where I mostly tweet about my an imminent loss of health coverage as I turn 26 this year. And also, I do another podcast with my friend Layla. It's at Mortified Pod on Twitter. We're actually going to get a legit podcast stream up soon. So if y'all want to leave us a 5-star rating and review, that would be tight. So check us out there. Well, gentlemen, I'm actually gonna go cry now, but just remember that it is okay to cry because even Jesus wept. We'll see you all next time.